Just to remind that according to Rabbi Yehuda Chassid, we don't take a haircut today, we don't cut the nails today. That's Mitzat Takonas Rabbi Yehuda Chassid. Okay, we're learning to the halachas of Makeh. It says it's interesting. This halacha it's brought mamash the end of Shulchan Aruch. It's in Cheshon Mishpat Tov Chav Zayin, at the last chapter of Cheshon Mishpat. It says like this: Mitzvahs esel asas odom Makeh legagoy shenemer v'siso Makeh legagecha. It's a pasuk in Torah. Ushyev beis dira aval beis oitzres beis sabak ketzav and a zokukuloi. So if you have a roof that's being used and it could be chashash sakon if there's no fence over there, so you have to put a fence over there. So we have a discussion over here if it needs a bracha, doesn't need a bracha. So it's interesting. So in Chazal, in Gemara, in the Mishnah, it doesn't mention anywhere the mitzvah of mitzvahs, the bracha, mitzvahs makeh. The only one mentioning it, and some poskim follow him, it's the Rambam. It says you have to make makeh and there's a bracha on it. So the Mechaber over here in this whole chapter does not mention anything about the bracha when he talks about the mitzvahs of makeh. And it's also interesting that there's more interesting because normally the Mechaber followed the Seder of the Tur. The Tur doesn't have this chapter altogether. The Tur's Choshen Mishpat ends but Tov Chof Vov, one chapter before. So the whole thing the poskim bring over here, the Miras Enayim says, Kol Zeh Leisa Betur VaMechaber Etika Medivrei Rambam. Yeah, ois beois. It says he brings it clearly from the Rambam, the whole thing. So why the Rambam mentioned enough bracha? The Mechaber does not mention anything about the bracha over here. Why doesn't he mention the bracha over here? Then, if you look in the Hilchas Brachas, which is start Reish Chav Beis and goes on over there, if I'm not knowing Reish Chav Hey or Reish Chav Vav, talking about the Dina Brachim Brachas Aprotim, it's not mentioned one word about the bracha of doing the makeh for your roof. Then, if you look in the Levush, if you look in the Alter Rebbe in two places in all the halachas of brachas, he talks about Seder Anayim, Birkas Anayim, Hilchas Brachas, and in Choshen Mishpat when he mentioned in Makeh, he does not mention anything about the bracha. Okay, so what Lamaisa? If they omitted the bracha, did they hold there's no bracha on it, or they just maybe it's Dover Aposhet? I don't know why they mention all the brachas. Why don't they mention this bracha? So it's interesting. The Torah Tamima he questions the Rambam. The Rambam says there is a bracha. Like I said, this bracha is not mentioned anywhere in Chazal. So he questions the Rambam. He says Rambam himself, few halachas earlier. This is in Perek Yud Aleph. The Rambam says halacha ches. Says you said the bracha on Ma'akeh. And halacha Dalet, 4 halachas earlier. Why don't we make bracha al mayim achroinim lachar asuda? And there's many other things we're not allowed to do. It's a sakona. It's going to be dangerous. It says mipnei shalochiyah v'dover zel b'nei sakona. The Melech Sdoimis, all my machrin was originally instituted because of sakona. Because Melech Sdoimis could blind your eyes. That's why you should wash your hands. And he says, "V'dvarim sham mishum sakona." That's the lashon of the Rambam. And mevorchim aleim. So he questioned, if that's the case, the whole makeh is because of sakona. If it's sakona, there's no bracha. Anything without sakona, there's no bracha over here. He says, Lamaisa, he says. That's the lashon he writes. V'ulai daita the shana ma'akeh the inyono ksiv b'Torah mefurash b'lashon mitzvahs eseh. It says clearly in Torah, kisivna ba'is chodosh v'osiso makeh legagecha v'lososim domim b'vezek kipal hanefel memena. It says clearly in Torah, the Mela said that one mitzvah that's sakona, you do because it's dangerous, it's safety, you do say bracha. But other brachas of sakona, anything you do or you don't do because of to prevent sakana, dangerous, or you want to do it without safety. There's no brachas on it. So Lamaisa is like this. What to do, Lamaisa? Like I said, the only one mentioning it from the Rishonim or Chazal up to the Rambam is the Rambam himself. No one else before or after him by mentioning this bracha. Again, not the Shulchan Aruch, not the Levush, not the Ramo, not the Shulchan Aruch Alter Rebbe. So what Lamaisa? So the MS is if you look at Shuvas Rabbi Kiva Eger and some Sofer Mashma, they do say that bracha. However, from the Shevet Halevi Mashma also, he mentioned that this some Sofer and you see with Rabbi Kiva Mashma, you do say this bracha. However, the Aruch HaShulchan on this chapter Tov Chav Zayin, he brings that he like this. Omnam yesh omrim. He quotes this Rambam. Then he says, "Om yesh en levorach neshesh bo lav lo some domim v'alav lo siknu bracha." V'kmo mitzvah, v'kam mitzvah yesh she'en bohem bracha. He brings there's many mitzvahs we do. There's no bracha on them. For example, when you stand up in front of your parents or rabbi, or when you give tzedakah, you don't make a bracha al mitzvah tzedakah, al mitzvah kibud avohem. When you give a loan to somebody, don't make a mitzvah al mitzvah gmilos chasadim. and so on and so forth. It goes a lot of mitzvahs. Bikur cholim, when you visit somebody not well, you don't say bracha al bikur cholim. A lot of so again, like I said, there's poskim saying on Makkah you make the bracha like a Torah Tmiu brings it. It says clearly in Torah. So he brings it at the end like this. While in Yonah Atzdok Shem Mevorchim Ilule Divrei Akadmonim Zal Nirali, he writes his own reason why on all these mitzvahs we don't make a bracha. It says like this: Nirli Atam, Mashalotim Brachas Be'ela Anyam Da'avgav Da'isha Yisrael Mechuyev Alasas Gam Mitzvah Sichlios Lo B'nei Shas Sechel Ela B'nei Tzivui HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When we have any mitzvahs, even that's a logical mitzvah, to help a poor man, to visit a sick man, that's all logical, and we have to do it not because it's logical, because Hashem told us to do it. However, since it's a lot of other nations will do the similar mitzvahs, it doesn't show over here that we're doing it mitzvah mitzvah, because many people that don't keep Torah mitzvahs do those things too. Many other people do the same thing. He said like this. He brings another raya. By mitzvahs, the mitzvahs made with the rabbanon to eat sudat Shabbos. We don't say alachilas cholent or alachilas sudat Shabbos. He says meshuna by Pesach. We say because it's different type of bread, matzah, achilas moror. There's no inyan to eat the moror another day, only tonight. Such a special mitzvahs we say bracha. But otherwise, any mitzvahs that looks logical and doesn't show over there clearly, we do mitzvah kedusha because Hashem kiddishon mitzvah. So he says there's no. However, he concludes like Abba Makev al Makev mevorchin the gamken eno sichlis. Now, he says so. He holds the mitzvah Makev. It's not mitzvah sichlis. It's not logical. Why? He writes like this: the av al pi. Because everybody should guard himself. If you don't want to fall from the roof, either don't go on it, or when you go on it, guard yourself. Why I have to make something to guard you? He said, yes. And the Mele, he said that it looks like from the conclusion he brought the Yesh Omrim and Levorach. So Lamait says like this. Wherever you do, Yesh Lam Al Masha Yismoch. If you say Brocho rely on the Rambam, as we see, the Rabbi Kiva Eger relies on it, the Chassam Sofer, the Shevet HaLevi, all the way to the Achroinim. Man, and somebody who would not make a Brocha on that, it looks like all Yesh Lam Masha Yismoch, because there's a reason why all the Baalei Shulchan Aruch, the Ramot, the Levush, the Alter Rebbe, they don't mention this Brocha anywhere. Not in Choshen Mishpat. There's a halacha in Yeredeh, there's Kuf Yud Vov, Kuf Tezayin, all the halachas of whatever you're not allowed to do, mitzat sakona is not mentioned over there, the bracha. And all Hilchas brachas, Reish, Chav Beis, and on over there, they don't mention. So the might say, also you have to know when is the mitzvah makeh, when it's because whatever is potter from the mezuzah, it's potter from the makeh. So you have to make sure this place is mamash mechuyev b'makeh midaraisa. Then you could rely to make the bracha according to the Rambam. Otherwise, if it's any shilas over there, so you have to be careful, maybe not to make this bracha.